post Craft Rocket, you guys try Craftly. Well, also if you're involved in Craftly as well?
Yeah. So it was the pivots was a journey. Like, so Cart Rocket, few years, it was doing well.
Right.
But it wasn't scaling as we wanted it to be. Second, the problem of churn. So Cart Rocket solved the ease of building websites.
Right.
So now you have a 5,000 rupee per month. You can get an e-commerce website bundled with a payment gateway. So you have solved the building of website.
Right.
But what we did not play a role at was marketing of the website. So people who were building websites, and back in the day, again, awareness was a huge gap. I personally met hundreds and hundreds of customers to understand where the gap is, why are people leaving the platform. The first thing you get an answer is, expectation of internet is, if I have a website on the internet, people will come. The part of you have to actually go and run ads and market wasn't obvious, and knowledge wasn't there. Everyone said कि website है, लोग आएंगे internet पे.
Build it and they will come.
And that was the core assumption of internet in general. So obviously there was no sales and people got bored of it after month 1 and 2. There were then customers who actually got sales, but they just couldn't manage. Logistics infrastructure is not available. The returns, products, warehousing. There was so much infrastructure problem of running an e-commerce business that having a website alone wouldn't cut it. So some of them failed, some of them lost money, some of them just didn't run marketing ads. In general, there was so much gap. So that didn't work in general. So we were thinking of what's next. And that time again, you try and catch that, because now you're a venture funded company. You're trying to understand what's the flavor of the season, whatever you call it. And that time, e-commerce was like consumers company were building valuations of billions.
Of course.
And everyone said consumer. And whatever the reasons being, took that call, like, let's try. And we knew it going in, it will be so expensive that we will have to raise a lot of money to even sustain ourselves or survive. But we still took that one because people were willing to give you money for it. Worst thing, first and ever advice, never do something just because people are giving you money for it.
Another big, very valuable piece of advice. That's just, don't take the money just because people are saying, go ahead and run with it. And I think a lot of mistakes that people make is that they don't understand that, when you have taken, money from an angel or a VC or a PE, ideally you should look at it as a debt. And you talk about this, that it's a debt that you have to repay. It's not like ash kar lo, maze kar lo, right? And a lot of people are just doing that. All they're thinking about is, okay. And of course you mentioned that, in your early days, even you were thinking when the first exit came, gaadi milegi, right? And that was, also your motivation. But it almost has to be taken as responsibility that you have towards your shareholders. That it's something that not only you have to repay, but repay with multiple valuation. I mean, that's really what the thought process should be, right?
Unfortunately, the capital where its origins from, I think the capital, they also don't respect that capital the same way. People who are actually giving you that capital. So the receivers obviously don't have the respect of the same capital. And that is the biggest problem of this ecosystem in general. Because equity capital has the least respect out there. Everyone is trying to experiment and play with it versus actually go forward and treat it as a responsibility.
What's your thought in this, the Shark Tank culture? Because that's another thing I see a lot with the youth today. And again, when I'm at colleges, they're organizing their own mini Shark Tanks, and everyone wants to do a pitch deck or, a pitch thing. And every college kid today is only thinking, मुझे तो Shark Tank पे जाना है, मुझे तो बस पैसा उठाना है, मुझे तो किसी भी तरह से करना है. What's your thought and advice both on those fronts?
See, one thing I've seen pre and post Shark Tank is the awareness of this ecosystem has grown significantly. So I'll give it to those folks because they've actually brought this whole business model to the masses. I could have never explained to my father how this works unless for Shark Tank he finally figured it out himself. But even the most smartest people, chartered accountants, nobody understood before that. Why are people giving you money and what are you doing with the money? And udhar to nahi hai ye. So the awareness wasn't there. So yes, a lot of awareness has come through. But with that awareness, what also has happened with Shark Tank as a big boom, people talking about their returns, exits, multifold, 100 crore exits with 1 crore investments. Everyone started looking at it as a lottery ticket also. So everyone with bare minimum capital, who do not understand this business, has become an LP now and trying to use and see, they see it as a lottery ticket ki sab khareed lo ek. which of course is unhealthy in general, because a lot of people who don't understand this have now jumped in as an investor.
Right.
And I know these, like even like people from Gujarat with traditional businesses, purely profitable, have now started using this. So that's a little bit of a problem, but that's good. That matures the ecosystem.
Right.
I'm sure you love this particular clip. If you want to watch the full episode, click on the link below and watch the whole episode.